Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the cave. So we've done two sections. We did the night section and the Hillbilly section. Then we pulled two levers and that made a cave-in happen so we could make this jump. And that probably implies that the cave will collapse on us when we're all said and done. It's pretty obvious that we're going to do the future ladies section, the time traveler section. And either we're going to work our way around here, or that's a different path. It doesn't feel like there actually are different paths. It feels like what happens is they just have it wherever you run into water, that is the section that merges very discrete sections together. So the cave is kind of never the same before. Now, she has this teleporting ability, but it seems like it is kind of a fast forward through time movement, not a jump through time and space ability. So if anything's in the way, over there on the right we have a red police box again, a red telephone box, not the blue police boxes, neither of which are really common. I don't know what we're going to do with a water puddle, but it's named, so that implies something's going to happen. And I'm trying to debate whether we will have a fourth final puzzle that is just generic after we do this. It would be slightly weird. We're in this cave, which maybe is an indicator of here, and there's nothing hidden behind this section. This does not seem like a game that would have hidden sections. Like maybe we'll run into historical items.
Who are you? Was it you that caused that cave-in? I know it was. Now my 3 mine cars is trapped in these caverns and caves. You'll bring those mine cars back if you know what's good for you. Maybe this dynamite will convince you. I need all 3 of those mine cars back, you hear? I got plenty more dynamite where this came from. How am I supposed to bust through those cave-ins? I need my stuff.
Well, you know what they say. It wasn't the prospectors who made all the money. It was the merchants who sold blood pressure medication.
So now I've got water. And then we have a fall to our death. How one would actually climb down and hold a bucket of water is kind of confusing. And one would assume if you have hover boots, you would have the ability to not die on impact.
Who are you anyway? Get out of my mind.
There you go.
But wait, no. Bring back my mine cars. Then get out of my mind.
So we probably are going to have one character put something down. It's not really worth our time to try and go through this all the same time over and over again. So what I'm going to do is have him put down the cupcake. Probably not even need to put it down there. I'm gonna have him jump and then grab the rope. Surprising that works, actually. You can pretty well tell that this is rather simplistic compared to...
Are you still here? You get me those gall darn mine
Let's
cars.
see. I wanted this destroyed can of corn.
I ain't gonna tell you again. Get me my 3 mine cars. Okay, I will tell you again. Get me my 3 mine cars.
Like, one kind of assumes that the destroyed can of corn is just a secondary way to get water, to get more buckets. No, interestingly enough, it isn't that. Alright, well. Let's come back to her then. Have to remember which button does what. We still have the bucket of water. Over here, we have a minecart money sniffing machine and
so
a
the old miner's instincts were right. There is a minecart trapped back here. He may have overreacted a bit, but at a certain age, you've got to do something that gets you up in the morning. Even if what gets you up in the morning is a dangerous lack of interpersonal skills and anger management issues.
You kind of have to wait until he just talks to you. Like, there's been basically no conversation that has actually happened. It's all been the cave narrating and talking to you. You can be in here. You can push this. But I think at a certain point you probably are going to need a second player to grab that and drop it. Alright. So I imagine this is like the previous section and the section before that, really just a scenario where you need 2 people. You don't really need 3. It kind of speaks of overambitiousness to have it so that there are 3 people. Notice that his arms are kind of stretching a little bit while he's grabbing all of that. Okay. And then it goes on a full roller coaster ride.
My gold! I thought you was gone for good. Time to get down to some serious hoarding.
So it did stop me from going any further. We need 3 mine carts. So we'll take this bucket of water. We'll grab this. We kind of are going in circles here. More than I would like.
I know you caused that cave-in. Now you've got to make it good.
Alright.
I've been down here so long, I just want my stuff back.
This is a little weird that this would be the time traveler's path, because it doesn't really seem like it has anything to do with the time traveler. So maybe this is a middle act puzzle that everybody has to do. I don't know why you would need a middle act puzzle though. Alright. It would have been nice if you could jump over that to make it a little bit easier to get out of this area. There's definitely some polish here and there they could have been put on this just to avoid walking around, which is what we're running into a lot of, is point to A gameplay, from point A to point B walking gameplay instead of something more interesting.
I'll trade you all a stick of this dynamite if you bring back all 3 mine cars. Hell, I'll trade all my dynamite.
I assume we're gonna need the shovel, and the shovel isn't just an extra way of getting around the rocks, but we'll find out here in a second. Hey, yeah, the shovel does not work. Alright, so we then start that and blow that up. I should have picked up the can of water, because that would have teleported the bucket of water further back. Seems like we can still hear the flames of the carnival. And there's definitely some places where you could swing or climb up. The sting of accolades from co-workers. Accolades? I don't know if that word's being used correctly. So this seems like this is kind of a simplistic puzzle that you potentially could trap yourself in. But no, because you can basically over here climb back up, so there's no way to actually be trapped down in this lower section. Take note that that just animated by itself. And then you can jump over here, and you can get on this, and that won't change anything. There is a slight problem in this idea, because it does kind of ignore the fact that in the previous section they did give different weights to different characters. It implies that the weight of all three of these characters somehow is always, the weight of two characters is always more weight than the weight of the weight of the minecart.
There comes a time in a man's life when he needs his 3 mine cars back.
So
That time is now.
we may need to move those items so they don't just get blown up when we get the 3rd minecart, if we are going to try and bring them with us. It might also be that there is a bad ending. I'm gonna put this destroyed can of corn here. There really might be just a bad ending that you can have. Alright, so slight puzzle here. We're just trying to move everything around. So we can push that. It kind of makes it seem like the shovel and the can of corn are unimportant items. I did that slightly wrong, but that's alright, we'll get this. And there's just like literally no animation there at all.
My vittles! Feller can build up a powerful hunger down here. I'm gonna roast me up some canaries. Now see here, I still needs me my last minecart, dagnabbit.
Okay. So I missed a jump there. And let's see. We need the bucket of water, and we need the dynamite. But I also want to move the other objects. Yep. Feels like you could slide down this a lot faster. And climb down a lot faster. You do a lot of that in this game. What I imagine you would have wanted to do is have a have a collection of dialogue and that would happen between different characters. That might have been the better move there, so that people talk to each other and it felt more realistic, like human beings talking to each other while going down this weird cave. They could certainly have given some backstory, even if the individualized characters only gave a false backstory of how they describe themselves. There would be room for more writing here. You kind of can tell that Ron Gilbert was the director here and not the writer. We're not running into anything at all, really, as far as conversations or no Monkey Island swordplay jokes, no puns. And there kind of isn't anything super unique in this story. Not really. We're kind of just being told a simplistic story that, like, if you were going to make a sequel of this, it would just be 7 new archetype characters, and then those new archetype characters would have 7 new custom sections in which they did something horrible, or basically are forced by the cave to do something horrible. And there really isn't even a lot of question here. Even if this is supposed to be like a hell/purgatory, the cave is clearly putting you in these custom scenarios to do something horrible and then blaming you for being forced to do it. See, with those two blown up, that'll tell me where the reset section is. And if the backstory, years later, a job at the carnival, if the backstory in all of these collectibles is telling what really happened, it's still going to only be a comparison to what is happening in the cave, not a one-for-one reenactment. So it would probably be nicer if there was a failed, a false narrative being told, where the characters play themselves like they are really good people, and then they turn out to be actually really bad people, or the cave proves them to be really bad people. Okay, it's decision time. Now, do we want to get rid of the shovel or the can of corn? I think the damaged can of corn is probably more interesting. It also seems like you probably could have had a undamaged can of corn. Let's see what happens while this guy rides down. In the 2 times before, we have seen Yeah, we've seen something happen. Alright, so she needs to be in there with the shovel. And then he pushes her. And then she uses the shovel to swing and hit the item. So that opens a different route.
Here it is, my special empty mine car. Miner can't have enough empty mine cars.
Oh, look at that. Those mine cars meant the world to that old guy. Maybe a reward is in order,
Okay. So, we put down the shovel, and we'll take the cupcake, and we'll take the bloody amulet. And so now everybody's holding something slightly funny as just a item that was not really used, although the bloody amulet was actually used. The cupcake kind of wasn't, and the can of corn, the damaged can of corn, definitely wasn't. So if there is an achievement to get something very specific and special to the end, you would have to have kind of known that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's no benefit whatsoever for doing that.
Oh, hell. Gold! Come back, gold!
So we just jump and break
Miner
that.
wasn't such a bad guy. He was down here a long time, and that'll take its toll. Obtaining the thing you desire most isn't always as hard as it's made out to be, but it will change you. And that, my friends, is what's hard.
Okay. So what do we got here? We've got a door that seems like it will open. We've got the bloody amulet. So maybe that wasn't supposed to be a section that was something that we were supposed to needed to do for the time travel, because I did not see any time travel ability in that at all. So that might have just been a middle section. Hillbilly's first love. And see, this is interesting, this cave painting, because they had the amazing clothed exotic dancers in that previous section, but here you have a cartoon image of the two-legged lady who is wearing a skirt and her underwear is showing, and she's wearing yellow stockings, and her cleavage is half out to the point where if that was anatomically drawn correctly, her nipples would probably be protruding in that dress. So yeah, inconsistency there. Like, as a director, maybe Ron Gilbert not the best, frankly, at just drawing that line. Like, they needed to go, hey, are we gonna show underwear? Are we gonna show legs? Are we gonna show large amounts of cleavage? These are oddly conversations that do happen in video games pretty early too. It's not that hard to have that conversation and say, hey, which direction are we going with this? And there is definitely a feeling that they are trying to make this kid friendly. I wouldn't mind if this was a oops. Well, I'm doomed. So maybe we just missed the adventure section completely. Is that possible? This is like the twins section It requires 3 switches to be pulled. What's down here? Well, I think this is the twin section. Yeah, and that doesn't really affect this, so I imagine this shortcut just would not exist. All these little rocks here probably was covered up. So we very potentially just skipped the twin section and the adventure section. And yeah, that's the twins. And it's not letting me even do that. There's a guard dog here, which is blocking this way. I guess it is kind of important for the game to tease sections. Make sure you kind of know. I can't teleport over to the other side of this. Yeah, I guess they wanted you to know that yes, there are other sections. Unless I've just completely broken the game somehow. It is weird that there would be an entire section here of gameplay that we just kind of skip through. Wow. And so we just did skip through the section there.
No doubt you have realized by now that here in the cave, the rules of time and space are not exactly, well, set in stone, so to speak. But for the time traveler, time and space are mere playthings, tools manipulated to pay back petty slights. So, prepare yourselves for a tale of revenge that spans 1,000,000 years. And remember, even with the best of intentions, time travel can be unpredictable. And with the worst of intentions, well, I guess we're about to see. Oh, I'm sorry, I was just trying to scare you.
So, it seems to me what goes on here is in the sections you can enter, let's just go ahead and put this down here. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get these guys past that section. In the sections you can enter, there seems to be places where you will get your companions' cave drawings regardless, or your companions' cave drawings are cave paintings are in central locations. Let's see, we have 5 of 8 on the Hillbilly. And I imagine at least 2 or 3 of those were collected in the Hillbilly section. So you probably could miss a couple, and then the big end twist, which is probably not much of an end twist, since you've already done that section, will be revealed. We can't collect anything from the other people. Let's see, we have 5 of the 8 of the night. So, and we have 4 of the time traveler, so we may have missed a time traveler one, which might mean that we need to go back and play the game a second time with the time traveler. If we don't mess up too much, that really won't be a problem though, because say our next run was with the twins, the adventurer, and the monk, and then our third run was with the scientist. At that third run with the scientist, I could take back the time traveler or any other character where I might have missed a cave painting, which seems to be really the only collectible. Yep, it definitely feels like the prospector character was a middle section, just so that there's more story. And if they're going to do a middle section, then there probably is an end section also, just to make sure you can do more. And there definitely is something about the layout you can tell, because it seems like you probably will always go through the night section if you have the night. Maybe there's a skip that jumps you right past the night section if you don't have him. And then you probably will do the hillbilly section if you have the hillbilly after that, always. And then you'll do the adventurer after you do the middle prospector section. And then you'll do the twins section. So, and I suspect the scientist section is actually after this. So there might be some more linearity to it than you would assume at the first move. And these aren't in that order, nor are they really in the order of the characters at the selection screen at the top, because the first one was the knight, then the second one was the hillbilly, then the third one was the time traveler. This goes knight, twins, adventurer, monk, hillbilly, scientist, time traveler. So there's kind of no consistent order in this. There are definitely some improvements compared to Maniac Mansion here. We haven't run into any crazy scenario where we don't know what we're doing. It's very straight and simplistic. The game is telling you directly what to do. Maybe you could run into one of these puzzles and not quite get it. I could see, for instance, the color on the wheel section, that could have been a little bit complicated, because you had to see the fortune teller and realize that the fortune teller on the other side of the map had to do with the guess the color, spin the wheel puzzle in the carnival. Everything else fairly obvious, pretty obvious at least. And we're not seeing multiple solutions here. We're seeing zero real conversation or dialogue, just a narrator narrating to you, and that's it. So there's no dialogue puzzles at all in this game, which feels like there should be something there. It probably wouldn't have been terrible if throughout each character playing their sections, they would at least speak out loud saying, it didn't happen this way, I didn't do that, it's not my fault. At least trying to not take the blame, or accepting the blame even. Definitely also goes to show that there's room here for a second solution to every puzzle. It seems like each of these scenarios is around collecting some item that is your heart's desire, and you're getting kind of like a monkey's paw reward, where it's the item you wished for, but then there's some curse or something that makes it not worth it. And gift of the magi type responses, I guess, more than monkey paws wishes, although that's about the same. It would have been nice though if there was a different way to solve the puzzles, but I'm not seeing that. I really am not seeing any way where a different character could have helped a different character and solved the puzzle differently, and saved these people that you assume are fictitious in the cave. And certainly in the fact that it seemed like real people that were getting eaten by a real dragon in the night section, there is a question about what happened. Why are those people in the cave? Why are they being punished? And I guess you could use those secondary characters from that if you were going to try and make a sequel to this. Unfortunately, I think Sega had no interest in publishing a sequel to this and funding a sequel to this, and Double Fine just doesn't have enough funding. Now, Double Fine is now owned by Microsoft, so if Microsoft was just going to give money to Double Fine to continue to make sequels to things they've made before, that might work. It probably would be a smarter idea, though, if Microsoft took something like this and then contacted like Ron Gilbert alone and left the rest of the Double Fine team to just work on Psychonauts, taking the properties from Double Fine and handing it to a different third-party team might be a better idea. And with Microsoft's like Xbox Game Pass for Xbox and Windows, a game like this being given away if you are in a subscription service would make a lot of sense. You don't really have to report sales then. You really don't have to worry as much about it being a AAA seller, which a game like this would never be a AAA seller. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.